We continue now with our Spotlight series with J. Daniel Pluff. The series highlights businesses and people doing something special in our area. Several of the businesses we spotlight on our program are often new startup companies, especially in the area of high technology. But this time we highlight a company which traces its roots back to the 1800s. Over the years, Oneida Limited became the largest producer of flatware in the world. And like Syracuse, China, their pieces could be found in homes, hotels, and restaurants across the country. But competition from low-cost providers forced Oneida to close, eliminating hundreds of local jobs. Fortunately, the story didn't end there. Two former employees formed a buyout and created a new company called Sherrill Manufacturing. Our J. Daniel Pluff met with co-founder Matt Roberts, who gave an update on their turnaround story and took some pride in telling how their products found their way to the White House.
Oneida, prior to you coming in though, Oneida Limited, if I'm not mistaken, was the largest flatware producer in the world, correct? And this was a big operation.
Yes. At one time in the 1990s, we made over 3.5 million pieces per week. So it was an enormous factory, and we sold products all over the world.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously something must have happened there because they ran into some trouble. They were huge, making a lot of pieces, as you say. What was the problem? What caused Oneida's demise before you came in?
The biggest problem was competition from China. When China joined the World Trade Organization in the late 90s, they started dumping products on the shores, and we actually would do the cost analysis. It was cheaper to buy the products from China than even to buy the raw material,
Wow.
even before you started manufacturing.
Wow, yeah, that puts you at a significant disadvantage. Your partner, Greg Owens, the two of you were employees of Oneida and decide to take over the company, take over Oneida in essence. That couldn't have been a decision you made just over a cup of coffee. How did you arrive at that?
Well, when the decision was made to close the factory, I started contemplating, what was I going to do with my future? And I knew what the cost structure of the factory was, and I know the retail game. So if we could create our own brand, we could cut out the middleman and we could be successful.
Don't take this the wrong way, but what made you and your partner think that you could come in here and essentially turn this around? Because again, Oneida was huge. What were you thinking?
Well, the thought process is to eliminate a lot of the legacy costs that Oneida was stuck with. Start with a clean slate with the employees. We were able to hire some of the best employees from Oneida.
Which was good.
That stayed on with us, yes. And then it was more or less trying to do things with a lower overhead cost.
Yeah.
There were only two of us running the factory. We were middle management type guys, executives, vice presidents.
It was a bold move though. I mean, I give you credit. That's a big step, I would think.
I think the first few years, in hindsight, I think a lot of people were laughing at us because who are these two people that could make flatware in New York State and Oneida Limited couldn't do it?
Right. Well, you could see it. I mean, you could see the argument there, right? So Sherrill Manufacturing comes to be. Step one then was what?
The first step was to continue with a contract for Oneida, because as they transitioned to Asia, basically China, they needed assistance in moving that product. So we had a contract with them for 3 years. We also manufactured some product for some other companies like Libby out of Toledo, Ohio, some designers, and then we started designing our own designs to sell direct.
Mm-hmm. So I've never spoke to anybody who's either started a business or taken one over and they've said to me it was clear sailing. Assuming that wasn't the case, I mean, what problems came up early on? What were some of the things you didn't see coming that really gave you some setback?
The biggest setback was 2008, the Lehman thing.
You're talking to the financial crisis?
The financial crisis.
Interesting.
What happened to us is our revenue was cut in half in one day. We were a small company. We didn't have a war chest to ride through the Lehman thing. So we ended up having to reorganize the business in 2010. We actually filed bankruptcy in October 4th of 2010. You wonder why I remember that date exactly.
I'm sure. Sure.
But the interesting thing was we had a pathway forward, and our path forward was Liberty Tabletop online sales. We literally started our website the same week that we filed bankruptcy.
Okay, but hold on. So, first of all, bankruptcy filing doesn't have the same connotation maybe as it did years ago. This was really a reorganization for you.
It was a Chapter 11.
Okay, but I mean, still, had to be a setback. I mean, the two of you had to be sitting at the table going, "What have we done? What's happening here?"
It was actually very depressing to me personally, because we felt that we failed. But we had a pathway forward. It took us a few years to get to the point where we exited bankruptcy. We paid back all of our secured creditors, and we're actually still paying. We're still paying our unsecureds back. So we plan on paying everyone off 100%. We didn't have to do that, but that's just the way we want it to be.
Well, good for you. So let's move ahead to modern day. Okay,
Sure.
Products in the background behind you. I see a lot of silver. For those of us who maybe don't have knowledge on this, flatware essentially is what?
Flatware are forks, spoons, and knives. Our products are made out of 1810 stainless, which is 304, which is the best stainless steel you see in the kitchen.
Good quality grade, you're saying?
Yes, and it's made in the United States. We started with the traditional designs, and then we came up with the newer designs, what we call affinity designs, that have specific designs on them. Calavera, Celtic. Our newest design, Oliver, has dog paws. I'll show you the piece on that.
So this is designed in-house?
All in-house.
Interesting.
All of the tooling from the first sample is made in-house. This is a Celtic design, and it's Celtic symbols on each one. They're different.
It's kind of neat, yeah.
Yeah, and it's all the tooling is made here.
And this is your...
This is the newest design called Oliver. It's the dog paws.
That's cool.
And bones.
Yeah. Do they all have this back?
Yeah, the backs, we share the back. It's sort of the same because that's not, everybody looks at the front. But the way we design it, it's all shiny, and then the background makes it pop.
And this stuff gets pressed. Some type of machine must press all that on there, right?
Right. It's pressed in a coining press, and then a lot of polishing.
Yeah.
After that. Yeah.
Way neat. Cool. So, from flatware, did you branch out into anything else? I mean, I'm thinking of the whole table setting, plates, stemmed glasses, anything like that.
What we've done on our website is we've gone out and found other made in America manufacturers of tableware. So we have pots and pans, we have glassware, we have cutting boards.
All that you make?
That we resell it.
Got it.
But what we do is we buy their product, we vet it, make sure that it is truly made in the United States, and then we'll put it on our website so the customer has a one-stop shop.
How has online purchasing impacted you, and are you using that to your advantage, like from a marketing standpoint, marketing online?
If it wasn't for internet retail, we would have a very difficult time being in business. And now, the way that everything is going from a retail standpoint, brick and mortar is really a dying breed, so to speak, when it comes to retail. People want to buy something, have it in a day or two, and they can do all of their comparison shopping online. They don't have to drive around to do it.
How far though? How far do you reach? I mean, are sales just domestic? Would you be a global supplier?
The overwhelming majority is the continental United States.
The problem though I see, or the worry I guess I would have, Matt, with that is, aren't you worried of this foreign competition, for example, companies in Asia or somewhere else, their manufacturing where their labor costs are lower, their product cost is lower? Isn't that a problem for you?
It really isn't, because they can't put USA on the back. So we market that as environmentally friendly. Our electricity is generated from Niagara Falls. Our product is infinitely recyclable. We're really competing with Williams-Sonoma,
Interesting.
Crate and Barrel, Macy's, Neiman Marcus, Bloomingdale's. We're not competing with other manufacturers. We're a retailer.
I read something that was kind of interesting. A few years back, you had a meeting with President Trump.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, we were invited to the White House as a small manufacturer, a small company. He wanted to hear from manufacturers in the United States, how's everything going and what can we do to help grow the U.S. manufacturing base. The second time we went to the White House, yes, we were representing New York State as a manufacturer, and he had a manufacturing week where all 50 states were represented by a manufacturing company, and we were lucky enough to be one. We made a special set for the president and his family for the West Wing.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and we also made a set of cutlery, steak knives with his logo. I'm assuming maybe he's eating off of those in Mar-a-Lago. I have no idea.
You hope, right? Yeah.
But we appreciate any assistance we can get from our elected officials to help their constituents to create jobs, keep jobs, even legacy companies like us.
You mentioned also about so much of the product is recyclable, and you seem to put an emphasis on that as well as locally sourced items. Tell me about that a little bit.
So stainless steel is infinitely recyclable. Our packaging comes from Sherrill, New York. Our buffing wheels and compounds come from Utica. So we're not burning a lot of fossil fuels on a ship going across the ocean to get the product to the customer. It's made here. When you buy our product, the money goes to the people that made it.
Yeah, I do like that. I like that a lot, actually. All right, let's talk about down the road then. I mean, you seem to be pretty stable now. Outlook is good as far as you can see.
Yeah, the outlook is good. I mean, we want to grow slow and profitable. We're not about becoming what Oneida used to be. We're going to be a small, nimble company.
But so where's that growth going to come from as far as you can tell?
It's going to come from brand awareness. So the average person purchases flatware 2 to 3 times in their lifetime. So when they go look for flatware, it's very infrequent. So the important thing is to get the brand in front of people's faces. The Made in America thing is important to a lot of people, and we're trying to leverage that. The market is so large compared to what we're selling. We're just going to grow organically.
Yeah, interesting. Well, we wish you well. I mean, it's an interesting story, certainly, going back as far as the 1800s and moving forward to today. But it looks like things are doing pretty well for you here. I like the Made in America approach. Keep us posted on any progress, but good luck with your future.
Well, thank you for visiting, and I hope you enjoy it.
Our pleasure. Thank you.